Hello everybody, welcome to a new video on my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about, I'm going track by track on the first album that I released this year, and the first album I've released since 2022, I believe. Maybe even 2021. Um, I do want to say that there is a long history and a long period of time where it was kind of a struggle to really come up with a new album because either I was making music I just wasn't happy with or something else. There's something there that stopped me from making new music, and I only released an album in 2023 under Seasonal Self, which as of this year I've decided to completely stop making music under Seasonal Self because of reasons. Um, I don't think I'd ever said before that I was ever done with it with Seasonal Self, but this is going to be the first time I'm saying this project that started in 2018 just isn't something I'm happy with anymore, or I really want to keep dividing my effort to do. Um, I'm kind of tired of doing it because it used to be a a project that I was doing on the side just because it was like, oh, I want to do like a funny project that's like based on lore and has a story, but the story just gets muddied with like the fact that I never retconned anything and I never planned to, that it just got to the point where it was like, how far can I go before it's just like there's no real way someone would be able to even continue like that. So I was like, whatever, it is what it is. Um, on top of just not being able to really commit to any album project, um, on my main thing, it was just like on my main musical outlet, it was just like I wasn't really saying anything with Seasonal Self that I wouldn't say here. I never really divided my opinion. It was still me. Like it was still just me doing me things, and it wasn't different. I didn't try to do anything I didn't already know with Seasonal Self, besides me experimenting with actual proper production on an album in which that production was just me figuring out how to make it sound better. And yeah, it was something I was super proud of, but it wasn't something I wanted to keep doing. Um, which I've only really thought of just putting in the whole, I don't want to do this project anymore. I thought about that this year, quite recently, to add. So it's time I do a track by track of the Mythical LP, the standard edition, and why the deluxe edition isn't out yet. Um, I'll explain. I'll explain. First and foremost, this album came out February of this year, of 2024. It came out in February. I almost debated not putting this one out at all, but I ended up releasing it anyways because of some of the music that was on it. It being from 2022 to 2023 material. Some stuff is left over from like 2021, I'm pretty sure, but alas, not the point. We're gonna talk about something that started with this album, Section 1A. This was a interlude that I had not really come up with a name for. I didn't really have a name for it. I was just like, fuck it, Section 1A, just because that's kind of like a good starting point. Um, and really, I wanted this song to be the basis of an interlude lore type thing where every section, letter, and number is connected in some way. And while I think that still holds true, I need to expand this in a full album to explain the lore of all of the sections and what each of them mean. Um, I think I need to do that. So if a concept album comes out 2025, whether it be just one or two, there's gonna be one if it comes out, if it happens, that explains the lore of section 1A, 1B, 2A, all of that. There's going to be something that explains all of those tracks, all of those interludes. Hopefully. If not, that's fine. The very next song to release on the Mythical LP is You Know Who. You Know Who being my favorite track is kind of funny. Um, this song is inspired by pretty much only one other song, being that of Linkin Park's Paper Cut, and also sharing the same meaning of it being about paranoia and being a very paranoid track. Uh, yeah, there's nothing really I can say other than it's a track about paranoia. Moving on to Inhabitant. This is a song that basically is just a take on the events of Britain coming into North America, more directly the United States, and then turning out into what the United States would become later on. And it's mostly in the natives' perspective. Um, so yeah. The next song is Floating. Um, Floating is a track that is basically about a breakup situation. It's not very it's not very in depth, or really there's not much else to say about it. There's not really any background other than originally I wanted to leave it as an instrumental. Um but then I was listening to it by myself one day and then started singing words, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I guess I could put lyrics on this." And then it came to be what it is today. It's okay. It's a neat track. I don't think there's much to really say other than floating is floating, and I like floating. Um, I like it as a song. It's pretty okay. The next song is Astronomically. This song has a very unique background, at least for me. It was supposed to be, if anyone even knows that it exists, basically this was supposed to be like a continuation of Flamingo EP, where it was just a song about YouTubers like that inspire me to either make music. Shocking that you'd be inspired by someone that doesn't make music to actually make music, but either that or YouTube. And originally, it started its writing process being for Astral Spiff, um, but I kind of changed what the song was about when I started making literally no sense. Um, at this point, I couldn't even tell you what the song's about. I don't think it's about anything other than it just started as a song for Astral Spiff, even keeping the original name astronomically. Um, Remembrance, uh, kind of funny coming off the last track with Remembrance, but Remembrance was a basically a remaster of the Mythical EP song, which is about a time when I went homeless for a day. Um, Not of my own volition. That wasn't me purposely going homeless for a day and being like, "Oh, what is it like to be homeless?" It was more of like something happened. I'm not going to say specifically what, but it led to a lot of serious emotions and a lot of anger. And I don't know if I'm quite over it yet. We'll see. I might be. I might not be. It's a track I don't really revisit a whole lot because Soundtrap decided to be stupid and fucked with a lot of shit for some reason. And made it quite goofy sounding on the guitars, and I don't know why he did that. I think I know why. I think it was a bug, but I don't know for sure. It was a very weird day for me though. Excuse me. Am I Real is a remaster of a song off of a canceled album called The Crisis. You're gonna be hearing this a lot. Um, Excuse me, Jesus Christ. Basically, Am I Real was a interlude that was detailed in a lot of other interludes that had the same am I question mark kind of am I blank question mark kind of aesthetic, in which there's only one other track on the album that keeps this aesthetic alive because I didn't really like the other interludes. But Am I Real was supposed to be the intro track to that record, but the reason it didn't is because it was a very abrasive, very loud, very screamy, very um like very dark for an album that wasn't really that dark in retrospect. Um it was not a very dark album. And that's just the way it is. The next song is This Day. I don't remember in the track list where it was supposed to be on The Crisis, but I do remember that it just isn't all at, if that makes sense. It's another remaster off of it. It's I don't quite remember what it's about. This was written in like 2023, 2022. Um the only album I can really like push a whole oh yeah, I know what that's about would be like the Poppiest Rock Record. Um so This Day again, don't really know what it's about. I will say this, I don't this is the point of the record I start to dislike like almost every song. So yeah. Um so yeah, that's This Day, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. Condemnation is a track that I actually do kind of like. Um so yeah, I'm going to explain. Condemnation is a song that I wrote after finding out that you could simply grow a tree and you could own land if you could maintain the tree without having to pay basically anything. Like if you went next to a highway and you planted a tree, you could just straight up own land. Um, but you'd have to be able to maintain the tree for quite some time. Like I believe it was like 10 years. Also, there's this album had a lot of songs. The Crisis, I mean, it's another remaster off The Crisis. Oh my god. Uh, it had a lot of songs that ended in TION, because for some reason I was like, oh yeah, if all of the song names rhyme, it'd be sick if most of them rhymed. And then it was like re-listening to all of them, and I'm like, every single song name rhymes, so it just makes all the songs sound the same. When it comes to the words, and I didn't like that. The next song is Played Into. This is the first track that was a remaster of the Poppiest Rock Record, um, in which, if you couldn't tell, the reason I ended up just remastering these songs and not releasing them, I didn't like every song off the Poppiest Rock Record. I didn't like every single song off the Crisis. Um, and that's kind of the way it stays. Played Into is another song I don't really know what it's about because I don't like it. I don't listen to it. I don't. Eh. I, fuck if I know. Um. Yeah, that's a song. Am I Alive is a track where I question exactly that. Am I alive? And it's a very contradictory track. It doesn't have a true direction of telling you where it goes or what it is or if it will answer the question. It doesn't ever do that. Uh, Track number 12, Uncle. I'm going to keep this one brief. I'm going to keep this one really brief. This is a song that is remastered off of an EP called the Dementia EP. I happen to have an uncle that has dementia. This song may or may not be about said uncle. We're going to move on now. Want to Know is a it's a neat track. It's an interlude that was canceled off of Poppiest Rock Record that I decided to remaster for this album. It's gonna lead into the next track. The next track, See Red, is a love song. It's just I don't really know what to say throughout the entire song, so I just babble and make no sense. So there you go. See Red is that. Found My Place is a song about finding who you are, what you're supposed to be in life, what you're supposed to do, what you need to do, and that's what Found My Place is. It's also another canceled song off Poppiest Rock Record that I remastered here. That's most of this album. Yeah, most of this album is remasters. I think the only songs that were recorded were the first 5 for this album specifically. The rest are just remastered old material from 2022 to 2023. I'm not very happy with this record, if you couldn't tell. After Found My Place, we have Constitution, which is another remaster off of The Crisis. It's a song. It was one of my favorites off of The Crisis, but when remastering it and putting new vocals on it and all that stuff, kind of lost its magic a little bit for me. I'm not really happy with it. It was a song about my sister. When she lived in the upstairs of our garage, and I had to go in there. I also never got my $50 for doing that. Damn. Next song is Your Reflection. This song is also off the Dementia EP. Um, and was a song dedicated to my at the time girlfriend that is now my ex. Um, we don't talk about it. Next song, Considered. Um, Considered is a very interesting song because it is about basically not considering how others feel, but also at the same time, you don't consider how you feel. You just don't consider emotions at all, and you kind of avoid them at all costs. If not, you just don't acknowledge that they're real or that they even exist. That's what Considered is about. Also remastered off the Crisis. Roulette is a cover of the System of a Down song, also named Roulette. Um, yeah, shares the same meaning as that song. Nothing more to explain or put there. The last song is the goofy track, or the goofiest track, which is What's Left, which features the entire original vocals. I didn't decide to change. And that is the funny Crushing Cock and Balls with My Fist song. And it's a nonsensical song about fucking. I don't really know what else to say. It's about gay sex. That's it. If you want more, What's Left is about gay sex. That was actually originally supposed to be an outro interlude. As well. That was supposed to be an outro interlude, telling people like, "What's left now? What's the world come to? Blah blah blah." But then I was like, listening back to it, and I was like, crushing cock and balls with my fist. So I'm like, all right, let's go. Turned it into a full length track, and that's where it sits now. Anyway, I'm still a little sick. My throat still hurts. I'm gonna go rest my voice for the rest of the day. Hopefully, I'll talk about the next album, Agony of Man, when I'm feeling better. Goodbye.